everyone, it's Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be doing Project Life March. Took me a while to get started on March, and if you remember, I am doing a bound journal. That's why you see the holes on the side. I'll use my cinch machine to put this all together. And then in April, for April, I will start on pocket pages just because I want to move back into that format and be able to use page protectors. So for the opening of March, you can see I've just grabbed a few pieces from Ali Edwards, a card that says "Right Now I See" in 2 different tags so I can write 2 different things. And then I also grabbed two chipboards that match, and I also found a December daily number that was a 3. So I'll use that for the month. And then the photos I picked were just of my kids and their new outfits looking all fancy. So I figured it's a simple way to kind of kick off the month and use up my supplies, right? So the first box that's green, it says, "Right now I see 2 kids growing up so quickly. One is finishing up middle school and is becoming his own person, and the other kiddo is growing confidence and continuing to amaze us." And then the next box, I kind of talked about the season of life that we are in. It is a very busy season with the kids having multiple activities, school events, field trips, sports, and I just said that my husband and I make a great team and figure it out and make it all work. So, which is awesome, right? That's all you can ask for. Do the best you can, right? Okay, so after this page, I am just going to do the flower farm. And I will have a large photo on the left-hand side and then a large photo of my kids. I'm going to pop dot that one. And then I'll have some vertical photos on the right-hand side that are a little bit smaller than 3x4. I'll also have a flip up because I want to have a spot for journaling and an extra photo of my daughter holding her mint plant. I have several pieces of chipboard picked out, but I really wanted to add like a pattern paper to the bottom, but I noticed that I don't have the March digital stories by the month kit, so I printed the May pattern paper. So that'll work. It kind of is a bummer I don't have the digital kit, but maybe I'll get it soon. I also had to trim off the white borders around the photos because it's just not going to fit, and it just makes it easier if they're all uniform, right? So I picked my favorite photos to go on top, which is my daughter and I holding our new plants, the tulips, and then my son giving his sister a piggyback ride, and my son and husband with their sodas. And then this large photo, like I said, it's just of the flower farm that we visited, and below that I'll have the photo of my son and daughter, which is definitely a favorite photo of mine. I love it because it makes it even more special. Not only were they getting along, but they let me take a picture, so it's like twice as special. The pattern paper at the bottom is only like 1/2 an inch, but I really love, how it goes with the whole theme of flowers, but it does mean that I'm not going to be able to use that floral chipboard over on the far left, like on my desk, because it doesn't match, but that's okay. The next step is to make the flip up. I felt like I had this flower photo a little crooked, so I went ahead and fixed it, and now I can make my flip up. And underneath that, like I said, I'll have the photo of my daughter, and I just use a simple piece of paper. It's the HP paper that I always link in the description because that's the paper I stamp on. I really like the crisp image that it makes. So I will adhere that down, but I'm going to save the journaling for the end, and then I will move on to adding some foam to the photo of my son and daughter. And I just want to say, I know I said this in the beginning of the video, but I really enjoyed making these pages and kind of thinking outside the box when it comes to my family stories, and I will continue to do that in a traditional 6-ring binder, but I just want the ability to have page protectors. I mentioned this in another video, but I tried to use the cinch machine to add some holes to page protectors, and it was not pretty. So it would just give me more flexibility to be able to do that. But I'm definitely going to continue to kind of think outside the box for my family's stories as far as, going beyond weekly and monthly. I added in the chipboard. I have the details on the left-hand side and the red on the right-hand side. And I also wanted to add a stamped phrase. So I picked "Get Outside" for the left-hand side and March Memories over on the right. And I will add those in, and then I'm gonna stamp a really big title. And I don't know if I picked the right ink, but I spent so much time on this title and fussy cutting it all out that I am just going to go with it. It's the new Alphas Are Awesome from Ali Edwards. It's the second one, and I just love it. It's actually a really easy font to fussy cut out, but like I said, I don't know if I picked the right color for it, but I'm gonna go ahead and stamp out Flower Farm and then fussy cut it out and add it to the top of my project. And stamp all of these letters and then fussy cut them out, and I'll just speed things up real quick and add a little music. Now I will bring all the letters back and figure out where I want to place them. The obvious spot is, of course, at the top left, but I do decide to just put the word flower and then farm down in the bottom right corner. I felt like if I put the whole title up there, it might take away from the really pretty photo. And at this point, I was kind of second guessing whether I picked the right ink color, but that's okay. It goes with the tulips somewhat, so it'll work, right? Or am I just overthinking this, guys? I don't know. I think I'm just overthinking it. But I love the alphabet set, and I think it's going to be super versatile, and I love it. So I'm glad that I bought it, and I'm glad that I used it because I had just received it in the mail. So once I have the letters all placed, I will be done with this project, and then I can move on to the third project that I'm going to do in this video. I just wanted to add like a little bit more of a physical embellishment, so I grabbed some cork hearts and I went ahead and added 3 of those, and it turned out to be a really pretty spring page. So I'm going to add the journaling. I almost forgot to do that. And this time, you guys, I know I never do this, but I did not grab my ruler to add some journaling lines. I just said, we're going for it. And I just wrote about how we've come to this flower farm for so many years. And one of the best times to go is actually during the summer when it's boiling hot, but you see all the daylilies and they're incredible to see. But in the spring is like the second best time to go because you see all the tulips and the daffodils. And so we just had a little fun family adventure going there, and we just had a great time together. Okay, so this project was kind of a beast to tackle. You know how I am looking at my photos from a different lens, as Ali Edwards would say. I noticed that I had a ton of photos from every single weekend in March. And I was like, what can I do with these? I could put these all on one spread. How can I do that without making it look like a jumbled mess? Like how could I do this? How could I make it look like they're separate like pieces, but all the same theme? So I came up with this. This is the design that I came up with. A set of photos on the left that's kind of like a square block. Same thing over across on the right-hand side. And then one photo down on the bottom left and another one down in the bottom right with 2 photos. It's totally different than I normally do, and it may not even work. But you guys, I had so much fun at putting this together. And I was just thrilled that I saw this story pop out when I looked at all of our March photos. So I decided to run with it. And I had just got the Happy Story Kit, and I love the stamp set. It is going to be absolutely versatile. So I decided to bring in some green, because anytime I can bring in green, I will do that. I used the Sunburst stamp to stamp in 4 different places, and I made the decision to not add a piece of paper to the block of photos on the right-hand side like I did for the left-hand side. I added that squiggly blue paper to make it a full square design. I just decided that I'd rather add in some sentiments up in that section. I guess we could call it section 3. And I am just stamping a little bit of phrases like happy story, put on your happy pants, so happy about this. I love it. I also decided to use some of the fabric pieces as well. So I will adhere those down. But like I said, since I was unsure about this design, I stamped everything first and then decided to adhere everything down. Because I was like, well, I could stamp this, see if I like it, see if I just want to go with it and see what happens. Or I could scrap it. I mean, if I didn't like it, I could just scrap it and just never share the project. But it turns out I really like it. And like I said, it's my husband had a change in schedule, so we were able to have a weekend day together, which was really special. And I wound up taking photos every single weekend of our adventures, so that was really cool. I also die cut some flowers, the blue ones and green ones from the Happy Story kit, so I'm going to add those in as well. I grabbed some Studio Calico numbers that I had. I stapled them, then adhered them down. That way the staple wouldn't show through. And I'm just going to go right down the line, filling in all my photos and making sure I have all the pieces in each of the sections, and then double-sided tape for the fabric pieces. The one on the bottom says so many beautiful reasons to be happy, and that one's blue. That way it ties in a little bit with the blue block on the right hand side. And the blue block on the right is digital, and I just copy and pasted a journaling card to fill that space in. So I kind of made my own little pattern paper from a digital card. And then over on the right-hand side, I put a green phrase that says, do more of what makes you happy, and also added in a flower. So I am glad that I did that different take for 1 and 3. So 1 has that squiggle paper, right? And then over on the third one, it has just that cluster of stamping. So I'm glad there's a little difference. And then on the fourth one, I have my daughter at the reptile store. And so I put overjoyed, and I did like half of a flower. So there's 2 horizontal photos down there. And I decided to do some black and white. That way I didn't have to have competing colors, right? Isn't that like the go-to trick when you don't want to have to deal with the colors and you want to pick your own colors? So the other thing I decided to use in the Happy Story kit was this Happy Stuff card. I figured, you know what? I want to have the stories down. I don't want to not have them down, and I didn't want to do any flip ups or flip outs. So this card works great. Up at the top, it has like something in red ink. I didn't use red anywhere, so I went ahead and stamped Find Joy in the Ordinary, cut it out, and adhered it over the top of that red phrase. I'm also going to hand punch this card instead of in my cinch machine, because lately I've been punching the holes off too, which is frustrating. But I got the holes punched, and then now I'm going to stamp weekends with this super, super old stamp set. You can see it doesn't even stick on the sheet. I've been trying to figure out how to clean it, but I always forget to clean it, you guys. But I stamp weekends, and then I will go ahead and journal about each of the weekends. So for number 1, I just said we had a wonderful and hilarious family lunch out at Wendy's. And really, it's a big deal for us since my daughter's kind of a picky eater. So once she started liking chicken, it was like a whole new world opened up. And I don't normally eat a lot of junk food, and so it was a special treat for me. Plus, I got a soda, you guys, and I never get sodas. So it was really good. The second is just going to a nature preserve and enjoying listening to the birds while our kids play Pokemon together, and I got a picture of them sitting together, which is just the best. And then the third is pretty hilarious. It was another rainy weekend, but we decided to go play at the park, and the kids loved it. It probably will be something that they remember, and we took a family selfie in the rain, and I got a picture also of my son like dancing in the rain, which is just so great. And the fourth, I already kind of mentioned, I saw on the side of the road a reptile store, and I told my husband, we got to stop. And so we stopped in there, and my daughter got to say hi to all the lizards because she loves lizards, trying to convince us that she needs a lizard. But we have 2 cats and a dog and people, and we don't need any more pets. But And then the fifth one, I just said that I'm thankful that my husband got that change in his schedule. And I also remembered to add in the dates too. I almost forgot to add in the dates. So I'm gonna bring it back together so you can see it all together. And I think it turned out fantastic. I was a little stuck at first, but it turned out great. And this is the start of March with the opening, the flower farm, and also the weekends. All right, hope you enjoyed, and I'd love a thumbs up or subscribe if you're new to my channel. Bye.